think we all understand the distinction between leading and managing, but what's the difference between leading and coaching?
Well, I think leading is helping either set direction or nudge people into the direction you believe you need to be on. Coaching is helping someone improve their performance.
Okay, and your capabilities, you've said, are more in the leading than in the managing or coaching.
Yeah. Yes.
And why is that? What is it about you that makes you a leader rather than a manager and a coach? And, more importantly, you have the humility to admit that.
Well, I think I'm probably not as good a coach because I've been lazy about it, and I probably was too egocentric to accept that I wasn't a very good coach. So I kind of put the blinders on and decided every time I made a comment to someone that it was coaching.
Hmm.
I generally had pretty good performance throughout my career, so I thought that was effective. And I was just drinking my own, bathwater. And I was never a good coach, and I was and I and now am I a great leader? I don't know. It's really hard for me to say. I think if you set your standards high enough, I'm certainly not. I I'm if I'm so much of my great leadership comes from the fact that I've been given a position of power, and these positions of power automatically put you in leadership roles. And I have, if anything, I have maybe my biggest two strengths is one, I'm not afraid of the concept of failure, and I am afraid of success. So that combination is very powerful. If you're not afraid of failure and you are afraid of success, it puts you in a really good spot because you're always starting over again and always trying to create. And you're not afraid if the new thing you create doesn't work. I also have one other towering strength, which is my ability to risk manage. So when you combine that with failure, with my willingness to fail, I don't usually get things into lethal situations, and so I think that's probably if I'm good at anything, it's that I'm not afraid to fail. I am afraid of success, and I risk manage fairly well.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about the risk management and perhaps give us a couple of examples where, your risk management approach resulted in a decision being made that, might not have seemed obvious before you applied it?
I'll give you a very specific example. Before I came, we tried to get into a new category that resulted in an enormous write-off. It actually triggered an SEC investigation and a bunch of other nasty things. And so when I got there, I was fortunate enough to learn through that one, or at least be, reminded of my own instincts, which was that, boy, you need to really not don't trust the data. Don't always trust the data. Trust risk management though. And so what I decided to put it, but the reason why that one happened was we did it with a very large company. It was super excited about the product. They were plowing the money in, they were plowing the resources in. Everybody was super excited about it. I wasn't there, but they were all convinced it was going to be a monster product. We built a whole bunch of inventory. The early reviews were great. Nobody had ever tried the product before. When they started to try it, it wasn't very successful, and it got worse and worse. So what I decided was, if we're this as one example, if we're new to a category, I'm not going to carry that much inventory. I'm just going to I asked for it, and it can happen on its own when you've got an NPI process, a new product introduction process. So I started putting a chart into every monthly meeting that showed exactly how much inventory of parts and components we would be building before we had 3 to 6 months of read from the experience in the market. I wanted that chart in every one of the meetings. So I would look at it every meeting and say, and one time we pulled back a product that everybody thought was going to be this amazingly successful product. It was a mobile gaming product. And we would have built $33 million worth of inventory if in a normal situation, but I chopped it down to 13, and I think we sold $3 million worth of that product, and it was a dud. So that's an example.